Brandon, CJ, Lindsay, and Megan are nominated for eviction, but who will win the Topaz Power Veto? Find out now on Big Brother Cheesecake 4 Office Wars. Hello, I'm Andrew Shevsik Moonves. Welcome to Big Brother Cheesecake 4 Office Wars. It's day 41 inside the Big Brother Cheesecake house, and this week Curtis is the head of household in a double eviction week. He nominated Brandon, CJ, Lindsay, and Megan for eviction, but who will win the Topaz Power Veto? We'll find out shortly. But first, the Reality Realness crew, Chantel, Jonathan, and JoJo, had another episode that aired on Thursday, I believe, or Friday. And they did a wonderful job once again. They had Ashley on the show. And I actually finally got a chance to take notes, so I will respond to them. And before I get to that, as I talked about with Krista and Nicole on yesterday's episode, and it was a fantastic episode. Thank you, Krista and Nicole, for being on. Charlene and Chad I'm waffling on them for putting them on All-Stars. And a lot of people don't want them on All-Stars because they think they're not All-Stars. And for me, I went back and forth. And for me, Charlene and Chad, Chantel invited them on the show. I don't know if she meant it or if it was as a joke, but I asked them and they both said yes. So apparently, allegedly, they're going to be on Reality Realness this week. And if so, this is kind of a referendum to them on whether or not they deserve a spot on All-Stars. A lot of people think their fighting is fake. Chad has told me that he's never met Charlene before in person, which is possible because they don't work in the same garage. So there's 950 drivers, so it's possible they've never seen each other. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting, but we'll see. Okay, next, Ashley was on Reality Realness. I think she killed Chantel and JoJo when she said she doesn't watch reality TV. It looked as if all the blood in their faces just went away and they're just like in shock. It was pretty funny. They asked her how she played in season 2, and she said she just tried to be nice to everybody and whatnot, but she didn't have that chance because she was the first head of household. She was in Ravenclaw. Joanne was in Ravenclaw, so that's, as you can tell, is already interesting. Dylan was in Ravenclaw, and he was feeding information to his preseason alliance, which was Raven and Chris in the Slytherins. And then you had Rhiannon. Okay, so Dylan was feeding information to Raven. Ashley thought Rhiannon, who was also the 4th Ravenclaw member, who was married at the time, since divorced, to Chris. Ashley thought Rhiannon was feeding Chris the information, so Ashley blamed Rhiannon, who got mad. The real person was Dylan, who was feeding information to the Slytherins, and Joanne at the whole time was just taking her top off. And so it was a big mess, and she had to sort of scramble. She made an alliance with the Hufflepuffs, with Chanel, Rob, Jimbo, and then I think Joanne also joined that. And then, long story short, she and Chanel took the opportunity to blindside Joanne midway through, and the entire house hated them and wanted them out, and then she and Chanel had to win their way to the end. That's the Coles Notes version. And she almost won. Chanel won in a 4-3 vote. So, yeah. Did Ashley play prank or no prank? There was the promotion to jury, which Ryan got. That was in Snape's lair, the potions, in season 2. And Jimbo won that in season 2. And I think Ashley figured that that was going to be the case. So she was saying no until Ryan got the promotion to jury. And then she figured, well, I'm safe from getting that. So then she was trying to get the Pooh Brown. So she was playing after that, and she never got the Pooh Brown, which is too bad because that would have helped her at least get on the block. And nobody can even take her off. She's on the block. When I say something is predetermined, it is predetermined. So Ashley being able to talk to the week 5 HOH, which was Ryan, was predetermined that if she couldn't get herself evicted weeks 1 through 4, that she could talk to the week 5 HOH. And I told her that way back in week 1. Now, The punishment that was added to Brenda being evicted, which that she couldn't play in the HOH, that was not predetermined. I added that, but I said that in the episode that I was adding something. So you guys were kind of debating whether or not that was predetermined or not. It wasn't, but I said it was not. When Jojo said that he saw Megan on the screen for Wheel of Fortune, and he said, I literally shit. I thought that was so funny. It was so JoJo. And it's funny because Lindsay's boyfriend, Brahm, actually looks a lot like JoJo, sort of the long, sexy face. You know, they're very similar. And I do think Lindsay and JoJo would get along very well. I've known Lindsay for 20 years, July 5th, 2000, so we're approaching our 20-year friend anniversary. Yeah. Regarding the fact that I said in the Wheel of Fortune competition twice, I blurted out that Ashley was the mole. I said, oh, it doesn't matter, she's the mole, who cares? And I spun the wheel. And at the end, I said, we'll reveal the identity of the Ashley. No, I mean mole. Those two things were added sort of for comedic relief, and everybody who was playing loved those moments. At that point, I knew Ashley had no chance. I had a Zoom conversation, a diary room conversation with Ryan, and I basically said, if Ashley goes this week, how do you think... And I couldn't even finish my sentence. Ryan said, that's not going to happen. I'm not putting up Ashley. She's gone. So I knew that Ashley was totally screwed. So at that point, and I was never upset with her. I want to make that clear. I was never upset with her. She did her best. I thought the twist ultimately was fair to her because she was worried about coming in as the only returnee, and I get that. So I think it was a good idea that she just unfortunately couldn't capitalize on. So at that point, because I think Chantal was like, you shouldn't have said Ashley's the mole in the competition, the video, but every single house guest knew, and there was no chance for her at that point. It wouldn't, if I hadn't blurted out that Ashley's the mole, there's a 0.0000001% chance that she would have been able to get herself evicted. So that's why I did it. And I still think, as Jonathan mentioned, and it's funny, some people messaged me saying, why is Jonathan bringing up his beef with Ashley from season 2? It reminded me of when Peter Brown on that horrible sideshow, when Zach was evicted in season 3, Peter Brown brought up tweets that Zach had made 2 years ago about shut up and go eat a salad. And I remember thinking at the time, is this your 15 minutes of fame, Peter, or is this Zach's 15 minutes of fame? Now, that was a different situation because Zach's tweet was really mean and, fine. Whereas Ashley was just kind of kidding around, and I think Jonathan was kidding around. So it wasn't a big deal, but some people were like, why is he mad about something Ashley said? And to defend Jonathan, Ashley did go into the house. They both, Ashley to host a competition, and Chanel also hosted a competition in season 3. And when they both came out, they're still in their season 2 group chat. In the final, if you're in the final 2, your chat stays forever. So Ashley and Chanel, when they were like, "Oh, what was it like? What was it like?" They both said Jonathan was creepy. So, in fairness, they were shit talking him. So, I don't think Jonathan's creepy, but I have a funny story about Jonathan. I'm debating whether I should say it. I'll leave it. I have a funny story about Jonathan. I'm going to wait for later in the season to say. I got through that. The Buzzkilled rules were set in advance, so Chantal, you lost that one fair and square. It doesn't matter. You didn't need it. I think that was it. I feel like I'm forgetting something. But I guess not. Okay. Was it about... I don't know. Okay. Now it's time to get to the results for the Topaz Power Veto competition. It was Big Brother Deal or No Deal. And season 1, this competition went really, really well. Debbie loved it. Everybody loved it. The only issue in season 1 was that Jeffrey took forever. Fine, he was on the block. He did not use his fast forward. The house guests were trying to flush it, so he needed the veto. Fine. And he had won like 3 or 4 vetoes already at that point. But like Princess Diana's funeral started at the same time Jeffrey started playing Deal or No Deal, and 20 years later Jeffrey was still playing. Like that's how long it took. It felt like it started at the time of Princess Diana's funeral. But besides that, it was good. Season 2 and Season 3 had a lot of people who either didn't know what was going on, needed me to explain the rules a billion times, were unavailable, took forever to make decisions on Deal or No Deal, and it dragged on. That's why I said this competition may spill over to the next day. And I almost scrapped the competition because of it, even though I love it. And I'm so happy I didn't scrap it because this season it went so smoothly. Everybody played quickly. Everybody knew what was going on. We got through the competition in 3 hours, which is really low for Deal or No Deal. So it went really, really well, and we had some really interesting results. So let's get to the Topaz Power Veto results. So in round 1, because the scores were not cumulative, you only had to make the top 3 to advance into round 2, and then the scores from round 1 would be wiped out. So you just wanted to make the top 3. Even if you end up in 3rd place, who cares? So a lot of people played conservatively. Brenda said deal to the first one, and I believe 3 other house guests said deal to the 3rd one. Brenda had 27,000. Megan stopped after the 3rd offer, 61,000. Curtis stopped at 115,000. And Kat stopped at 142,000. Lindsay, unfortunately, she was playing with her boyfriend Rom, who kept saying, say no deal, say no deal, say no deal, and she went way too far, and she ended up plummeting to $800. So Lindsay has 800, she's out. Brenda at 27,000, she's out. CJ does very well. I don't think she takes the 3rd offer, but she does very well. It is a bit of luck, fine. She has 164,000. So Megan is out. Curtis has 115,000, Kat 142,000, CJ 164,000. So Brandon, who was last, just had to beat 115,000. Curtis has scored a clinch. Brandon started doing very well. So he had, well, let's see. He at one point had this. 116,000. He was $1,000 over Curtis's score. So he didn't realize, he didn't feel the horseshoe hovering around his asshole, and he decided to play on. He opened up a big case, I think it was 500,000, and the offer went down to this. So now he's 2,000 out of contention, but he played on, and he opened up 750,000, then he went down to this. And at this point, the writing was on the wall. He played on again. He couldn't open the 400,000 or he was fucked, and he opens. Offer plummets again, and at this point, it doesn't matter. He ends up, his offer was 2,000. Yeah, he took a $2,000 offer. Doesn't matter. So Brandon ends with $2,000. So moving on to round 2, we have the 3 C's. Kat, Curtis, CJ. Round 2. Now the scores are wiped out. Best score wins. Let's begin with Curtis. Curtis just started out very poorly, no luck, and sometimes luck is a factor in this case. He's in this position. And he just gives up and says, you know what? Just go all the way. I'm going to take what's in my case and hope it's 200 or 300,000. So just say no deal all the way. I said, are you sure? He said yes. So I'm like, all right, let's go all the way. So this ends up happening as I go along all the way. That can't even buy you a blowjob from a hooker on Yonge Street. Then this ends up happening. That can't even buy you a latte from Starbucks. Then this ends up happening. That can't buy you anything. And he ends up with this.
$1. $1.
$1. I almost wish he got the penny just so that he could have the lowest amount ever and make history, because now somebody could beat the dollar. But yeah, so Curtis's round 1 scores $1. So Curtis has racked up an under the sea t-shirt, $1, but 3 head of household, so he has a lot of souvenirs to go home with. And of course the white piece of paper from Dunder Mifflin, should he get evicted. Yeah, so Curtis has at $1. So then CJ plays. CJ starts out great. She starts out with this. Great first offer. Then this. Fantastic. Then she has a bad round. 45,000, and because she has to open up 3 cases, she panics, because she could open up 100, 200, and 300,000. Not likely, but it could happen. She says deal. She takes 45,000. Her case only had 10,000, but we don't know what would have happened if she played on a little bit more. 45,000, and I'm thinking that's not going to be enough. That's a pretty low score. Then Kat plays. Kat starts out pretty weak. 10,000, 19,000, but then she has a good round and she goes up 2. So now I'm thinking, okay, you know, she can do this. In fact, 71,000 would have won. I don't blame her then for saying no deal, because I would have said no deal too. But then she has sort of a not so great round, and this happens. $85,000. Enough to win. I don't know if I would... See, it's enough to win. She only had the $750,000 case left. That was big. So I might have stopped at 85. She plays on. And she opens up 750,000, so her offer plummets to 4,000. It doesn't matter. Congratulations, CJ! You have won the Topaz Power of Veto. You are the first female to win the Big Brother Deal or No Deal Power of Veto competition. And at the time of this recording, you've already told me what you're going to do. And so find out tomorrow whether CJ uses the Topaz Power Veto to save herself or Brandon, Lindsay, and Megan tomorrow. And we will have CJ's famous rum cake recipe. Oh, it's so delicious. You thought Lynn Chocolate Bananas was a riot. And we will finally, I think we're going to hear what Lindsay's voice is, I believe, tomorrow, I think. And then Tuesday, the final 3 nominees played their case, and we learned the rules of the next Head of Household competition. And Wednesday is double eviction night. Which 2 house guests will be evicted from the Big Brother Cheesecake House, lose their shot at the $400 Cheesecake Factory gift card, and be fired from Dunder Mifflin? I'm Andrew Shepsick, Moonbest. Take care and we leave you as we eavesdrop on the house guests. Good night.